Good morning, friends of change, which is what healing is. Healing is letting go of one thing that's causing us disruptive function, dis-ease, letting go of that, letting go of it, and let ourselves come into a new way of thinking, a new way of feeling, a new way of acting, a new way of becoming. Just if you keep doing things the same way, you're going to keep getting the same results. And by the way, this is Steve. That's the name I was given in this lifetime, and it's good enough. I find Steve's to be fairly functional, so that's a good thing about being Steve. Okay, so I woke up this morning at 4 o'clock. So I did my breath work to just bring the level of fear down within my own system, because the world energy has, and I'm checking this all the time, I work with the world healing field, so I know what the world energy feels like to me. It may feel completely different to you. You may be shut down energetically as a defensive mechanism and say, I don't feel anything, and that's okay. But if you're working with grounding the energies of disturbance of the world, and you've been doing this your whole life, but especially since you set up the World Healing Field at the end of January of 2020, you want to know what you're working with. And so, the past week or 10 days, which were the 10 days of galactic activation portals, I'd wake up in the middle of the night, just mild panic attacks. And so many of my clients were saying, I'm just in this panic, I can't come out of it. And I found the best way to come out of it was through breath. Count the time of your inhalation, and then when you exhale, double it. Double the inhalation time. So if you inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 8 seconds, or 5 and 10, or 6 and 12. Whatever it is, you inhale, double it in your exhalation. That will tell your nerve system everything is okay, and which it is, and it's better not to be in fight or flight, because when you're in fight or flight, it's difficult to digest food. And if you eat, and you want to get nourishment from the foods you eat, and you want your immune system to function at a higher level, come out of fear. You will come out of fear. Fear is not safe and effective. Fear is only useful if you need to get out of the way of the bus or you're being chased by the tiger. But at all other times, awareness is useful. And if you need that extra bolt of energy, then fear becomes useful. But you really want something. You don't want something to be happening, but you really want, if you're going to be in fear, that there is actually something happening that you need to be in fear about. Otherwise, be in awareness about it. And the earlier video, and I'm going to try to do this next thing before I talk too much, but the earlier video I did that's uploading right now was on the Mayan calendar, and it happened to be about fear today, and the yellow warrior and fearlessness and what that means. So you have to watch that video, because I'm not going to necessarily talk about it again. But having done my breathing exercises this morning between 4 and 6, it's just me. I did my breathing exercises, I did my yoga postures, stretching, loosening, opening, just getting my body more functional. And I did my Qigong exercises with Master Gu, who on YouTube has Qi TV. And he teaches you how to do Qigong. And it's just basically just moving, feeling energy, you'll like it. And it just calms down the entire nerve system, and it opens up any stuck energy, what Dr. Master Ming Gu says, it's just stuck energy. And it's nice to know it's just stuck energy. You're just feeling stuck energy. Let it go. And then it's unstuck energy. And now it can flow and move, and you can feel wonderful. So after doing my morning process, after the Qigong, an understanding came into my consciousness on how to release on oneself the pattern of fear, tension that many have been holding over the last 5 years for some reason. But anyway, it seems like a lot of people have been really working with this fear energy. And so, I was shown something that I'm going to teach you now, to be safe and not be giving a medical opinion, like this is safe and effective. I'm not going to give you that opinion. I'm not a medical doctor. I am a spiritual teacher who is interested in wellness on all levels. So what I'm going to tell you about came to me as a download this morning from the higher realms. It was downloaded in me how to, one way to release fear. I know other ways, but I didn't know this way. This way involves that right behind your ears, when you feel that bone right behind your ears, that's your mastoid process. And your mastoid process is related to your temporal bones. But behind the mastoid process, if you go back a little bit, you'll feel the occiput. And it's kind of a ridge right across. And when we are in chronic fight or flight, our occiput and our temporomandibular joint tighten. Good fighting position or running position. And it shuts down all the neurological information to and from the digestive tract, because you don't need your digestive tract when you're in a fight or flight situation. You need the blood in your arms and legs, and you need to be ready to run or fight or whatever the fight or flight is suggesting you do. But there's also freeze, where you just pretend it isn't happening. And if you get too much into freeze and just ignore signs of things going on you tend to have this chronic pattern of tension that is between your jaw and your occiput. So you tend to have chronic indigestion. You tend to have discomfort, tight muscles, clicking jaws. It tends to affect your sphenoid bone, so you don't get as good cerebral spinal fluid flow into your head, which is really useful for brain function. And the atlas vertebra gets pulled forward, which has the vertebral artery, so you get a decrease of circulation to your brain. So if you want fresh blood getting to your head, and you want cerebral spinal fluid flowing through your spine and your cranium, then you might want to try this little thing that's very simple, and I'm going to show it to you. And then that may just be the video, and then I'll do the tarot reading, or I may do the tarot reading following this, I don't know. So I've already told you, so we're going to be using our thumbs. So I've already told you where the mastoid process is, and you're going to go right behind that mastoid process, and you're going to find a little ridge. And at the bottom of that ridge, you're going to find possibly some tenderness. And if you don't, we're going to keep going along the ridge. But we're just going to start on one side. So we're going to start on the right side. And what you do is you just, with your thumb pad on your occiput just behind your mastoid, you put a mild amount of pressure, firm pressure, and then turn your head to the right and feel it get painful. And then you let go of that pain and that tension. And then you keep the pressure and you turn further to the right until you feel pain. And then you just stay there and breathe. And just wait until it releases. And then you move your thumb over and you get to that next area of pain. And on me, this next area is fairly painful. Then you hold your thumb on that point of pain just at the bottom of that ridge, and you turn your head to the right. Feel that pain. And you do it at your own speed. I'm just going to go through and just demonstrate it to you. So you go to the next spot, firm pressure, turn your head to the right till you feel the pain. And I never did feel the pain on that one. And I've done this already this morning. So it may take you longer. You might have to stay at the points longer. I'm just giving you an example. Then you move to the mastoid process. So there's the thumb. The thumb is placed on the mastoid process. Then you slide back to the occiput. And then you feel your thumb going downhill a little bit. That's underneath, a little bit underneath that ridge. And then you find that spot. And then you turn to the left this side. Is that right? Yep. Turn to the left. And so you're putting pressure, your thumb is putting pressure on that spot, and you're putting pressure on your thumb. So you're matching that pressure until you feel that release. And then move to the next spot over. And turn your head to the left. And you might even start feeling your jaw releasing because you're releasing the atlas vertebra and the occiput that are both related to the contraction of chronic fear or acute fear. You can do it when it's just all of a sudden you're fearful. You can do this and release that fear. Next spot. Now, I'm actually turning away, so I'm just watching this as I'm doing it. My hand is on the left side, and I'm turning to the right side, and that feels like the proper pressure. But anyway, you're going to apply pressure. So if you go to the right, if you go to the left, the pressure is better. If you go to the right, if you're pressing on the left. So I'm just learning this new thing. And you press on it until you feel it release. And then you move over, find the next point, and you just go on. So even though I told you that when you're on the right side, you're going to turn your head to the right, but I'm quite certain the way I did it this morning, and it worked really effective, is actually when you're on the right side, you turn your head to the left. And so then you feel that pressure. You hold that pressure until it releases. And once it releases, you move on. Then you do it on your left, but turn to your right side. Once you've got the pressure, you go to your right side, hold that pressure. It's pain. You hold it until it releases. When you release both sides, and it's one occipital bone, but you release one side, then you release the other side. Once you've released both sides, it releases your atlas vertebra. Your atlas vertebra goes into a relaxed state, and rather than being pulled forward and cutting off the blood, it relaxes and becomes very flexible in its movements. And then you get good circulation to the head and better cerebral spinal fluid motion because it also releases the occiput. Now, if you want to release the occiput yourself, just put your thumbs in your temporal area. This is your sphenoid right here, right behind your eyes. It's that indentation. Just put your thumbs there and just move your hands backwards and forward like this with a kind of an equal pressure that you did. And if you find one direction, so for me, it's going back. For you, it might be going forward. for me, it's going back. So when I feel my hands are going back, I feel my sphenoid releasing. And when your sphenoid releases, you've restored that relationship between the occiput and the sphenoid, which allows your cranium to vacuum pull cerebrospinal fluid up through the head. It's very useful for brain function. If you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section, like, what the hell? Whatever questions you might have. Okay, so we got again the devil card. And so the devil card relates to major arcana number 15. So there's 22, pretty sure 22 major arcanas or trump cards. It's kind of, for some people it's getting them excited when I say trump card, and for some people it's getting them paranoid when I say trump card. But all of this, your perception of, who's good, who's evil, it's all, perception. I don't know. I can't tell you. But I can tell you about the devil card. And there's something that was written by Bennett W. Goodspeed. And he said the difference between a comedy and a tragedy is that in a comedy, the characters figure out reality in time to do something about it. I just think that's really good. So the devil represents the universal principle of mirth combined with stability. So you can have a sense of humor, but still be grounded, balanced, and centered. This is the only card in the entire deck which has undergone a transformation within itself. During Greek mythology, this symbol was Pan, half man and half goat, the god of merriment and sensuality. In Egyptian mythology, the symbol was Ra, the sun deity, a symbol of life force and energy. During the Middle Ages, there was a backlash to the panistic cults, those that, looked to the god Pan. And so the archetype of the devil was created, but the panistic goat was changed into a devil. And ironically, devil spelled backwards is lived. During the Middle Ages, panistic activities of people living it up were considered hedonistic. Therefore, in order to quell those activities, they had to be rendered evil. If you're having a good time, you're evil. They had to be rendered evil or made wrong in order to make way for new belief systems that were emerging at that time, which was like the Puritans. So, of course, the Puritans came to this country, whatever it was called at the time, and just started, they were trying to escape religious persecution. I think it's the story. They're all stories. And then they came and just started persecuting the native people that were here and telling them, no, you have to believe this because we believe this. And we're escaping not being able to believe this, so we're escaping to a place where we're going to force others to believe what we believe. The devil card. The devil made me do it. So that was kind of the energies that we are working with. Change and becoming more conscious and becoming more awake and aware. And so the other card that we got in relationship to the Devil card is the 1, Major Arcana 1, or the 1 of Trumps, which is the Magus card, or freezing. Oh well, I'm not cold, I'm just freezing on the screen. The Magician card is related to the principle of communication and timing. And so in her book, Dreaming the Dark, Starhawk, who is a modern day witch, or part of the Wiccan cult, which might be seen to be panistic, and maybe not. She said that language shapes consciousness. And the use of language to shape consciousness is an important branch of magic. And that's why they call it spelling. To have people perceive things in a certain way using certain words, maybe using safe words, or the word safe, or maybe using effective words by saying effective. That's called spelling. And spelling is working with magic or working with hypnosis, which is working with magic. So the magician, this refers to the higher level of consciousness utilizing spelling and working with magic. There's a higher level of consciousness that works with magic. And the Magician card represents the universal principle of communication. The golden figure of Mercury, the winged messenger from Greek mythology, represents communication that is inspired, resilient, and well-timed. This symbol represents an individual's capacity to communicate equally well in both oral and written communication. The magician is surrounded by 10 tools, each of which is the magician's way of picking the appropriate tool or tools for communication that would best serve a particular context. One is the coin represents the ability to communicate in ways that can assist finances and practical endeavors. The floating cherub, the lighted lantern, represents communication which, like Aladdin's lamp, inspires or evokes the genie or genius within one's communication in nature. The ibis or phoenix wand is in the magician's hand is a symbol of being able to communicate from a philosophical, religious, or spiritual base. The fourth way is the arrow, moving toward the winged eye of Horus, representing direct and honest communication, which is well-timed. The winged eye of Horus with the dove within it is a symbol of inspired vision which is articulated. The floating scroll or book is the power of communication that is written. The winged egg reminds us that all communication is prompted from our essence and constantly being reformed and delivered. The cup with the coiled serpent represents the transformative power to communicate the range of one's feelings. The sword symbolizes the ability to articulate ideas and thoughts clearly and succinctly. And 10, the golden monkey represents the Egyptian god of wisdom, Thoth, who transforms himself into a golden monkey to demonstrate that in communication, we must be flexible and aware of all communication lines that we have executed personally and professionally. So it's all about communication. It's all about speaking our truth. It's all about working with the thought forms that the powers that be, whoever they are trying to get us to perceive things in a particular way by making us think that it's only okay to think this way or feel this way. They're basically communicating to us through sites such as this what it's okay to think, how it's okay to be, how you need to change so you'll be accepted within this very narrow frame of reference. And so basically, if you just follow the golden rule, which is treat others like you would like to be treated, that's the only rule that you might need. Just treat others like you wish to be treated. Treat others as yourself and treat them with the intention of the highest good being experienced by all. And I think that's enough. I'm hoping this was a good one, and I'm hoping it works very well for you, and that especially the release of fear through that pressure along the occiput ends up being a really wonderful thing. It was for me this morning when I did it, and again when I did it as a demonstration. I actually released a little bit more of that tightness. May this serve you well. Namaste.